Hello and welcome to my video. This is my warm-up using martial arts, and I describe here how this can be geared toward gaining muscle or just maintaining it, and that means both for strength and for stretching. So if you pause here, you can figure out more. And I'm starting off with about 4 reps of my first exercise that I'll do for strength. So instead of jumping right into that, I'll substitute with some stretching in between. So that's how this is going to look the whole way through. It's going to be a bunch of stretching in between every strength set. So here's the first one I will do. I find this a pretty difficult strength set to do for myself, so I chose to do it first. And here I may be going a little bit slower, but it says 1 second up and 3 seconds down. And it's usually easier coming down. You'll build muscle easier that way. So then I have my hamstring stretch with the wrist stretch there, and back to set 2. And I'm just noting that every strength set is 1 second up and 3 seconds down. Typically 1 second contraction phase and 3 seconds in the opposite, the eccentric. And here I'm getting my external rotator this time. The first time was internal in the calf, and this time is external in the tibialis. So these are stretches that don't really interfere with the upper body, as this whole workout will be upper body related. This makes it a little easier to swallow. And this is my first set of pull-ups. I try not to get too deep in any of my lifts. That's also why I'm using flat hands. So when I get right here at the bottom, I don't want to hang in the joints at all, really. I just get right down and then come right back up, basically. And that helps with recovery. And so this is my quad stretch. So I'm going to stretch when it's time to stretch. I'm not going to stretch in my lifts. Basically, that's the idea here. So this one is done with 7 RPE. That's the trend so far. The first set is 8 RPE and the second set is 7 RPE. So with this manner of doing things, I don't grind till failure. Even that last couple of reps, I make sure are fairly easy to do. Here I'm even using my feet. So ideally I would get 8 reps, but I would make 8 quality reps. So I'd find at least one version of the movement that would be easy enough to do at least 2 reps or so with. And at that sort of intensity, 7 or 8 intensity. And so here I'm back on push-ups. This is my second push exercise, and I'm just shooting a couple variations, but I would make this harder by leaning more and more forward. With either push movement, they would eventually become a handstand push-up or a full body planche push-up. So really there's no excuse to say that you can find a better exercise. I feel it would be something worth working at anyway. It can always be progressed until you get to those anyway. So this is my stretch in between the final set of the push-ups and what will next and now be the body rows. So I'm just setting my rings a little lower, and I even use the Crocs on my feet to make sure that I don't overdo it with the hard surface. And my elbows are usually out at about a 45 with all of these to make sure that I get a decent angle for hitting the deltoids as well. So there's a nice muscle alignment and getting everything very balanced. And this is a bit of a more lengthy stretching session, but it's rounding about 1 minute. Every one of these stretching sessions should be at least a minute. So if you only do the 22 seconds times 2, you still might have another 20 seconds or so, and then you could just grab a drink of your water or something. But this one clocks a little bit past a minute, not quite a minute and a half, so it's pretty good. And then it will almost be my final set of strength for the entire upper body day, but there will be isolations following. And of course, with the way I'm planning so far, nothing will be overlapping, so I was avoiding those stretches with the compounds. And so the same thing with the isolation. I'll try not to hit any of the focused compound work, if that makes any sense. And it'll be explained in just a moment here, because my first flex session will come. So this is just holding flex holds, and it does less work on your CNS than say an overlap of a bunch of bicep curls, or in this case tricep extensions, for example. You'll be hitting those muscles anyway with the compounds, so I'm trying for this anyway, and there will be 3. So this workout is done 3 times per week as well, and that makes this a pretty good balance. You can find a day in between, and there's even a chance for a rest day at the end of the week, because this is the upper and then there's the lower coming as well. And I'm almost at the end of my stretching, which I am throwing still in between strength sets. So this will be the second last stretch session, and I go back to my tricep extensions here. So a point of note is that it's back about 10 or 20 degrees, and my thumbs are pointed ever so slightly pronated. It's not completely flat-handed or thumbs wildly pointing down. Just somewhere where it feels like when you're contracting your triceps, it's not pulling to either side because there's a slight stretch created. So basically the most neutral position and most contracted position you can get. So here we are back at that, and it's basically just straight down. The biceps will be straight up, so that's a kindly sort of adjustment. And so these are the neck nods. I'm just resisting using my own hands. And I try not to come down all the way. I try not to, unless it's the concentric part of the movement, go too far, because it just turns into a stretch again, just like with those pull-ups. Here are the side delt flex holds. I'm going up about, well, straight up about 10 degrees. I tilt forward to make sure that straight up has now turned to kind of behind the head, and the thumbs point ever so slightly down. The same effect. I don't want to have the delt stretching kind of either direction, just a neutral delt. And the next neck exercise is the rotations. Same thing, you don't want to go too far, except when you're contracting, it's hard to go too far. You're kind of forced to stop. And the second side delt is there. It becomes very difficult to hold up actually after a while, and it might even be hard to feel the engagement of the muscle the first time or so. Okay, thank you for watching, and this has been the entire upper body day.